Hey guys, it's me, May, and today I'm going to be talking about the Soul Farm conspiracy theory. So, this is just the basics of it. It's a very deep rabbit hole and a very intricate theory. Super interesting. I'm going to give all the credits to the subreddit, the creator of the subreddit, and the post, where I got the information in the description, so check it out. But yeah, let's get into it. So, the Soul Farm theory states that us humans are being farmed for our negative emotions, um, and those emotions are being used as energy to sustain entities that are of higher intellect and higher technological advancement. Um, so, the first thing I want to do is talk about the goldfish metaphor to kind of lay down a foundation for understanding this theory because it does get a little bit abstract and a little bit out there. Okay, so imagine you have a pet goldfish, and every day you go home and you talk to this goldfish, right? Tell him your secrets, whatever you do. You form a friendship with him, okay? And one day you're looking in this goldfish's his eyes, and you notice he's looking at you, but he's kind of looking through you, right? And this is because goldfish, right? Like they're perceiving your physical form, but they don't carry the intellect to be able to interpret what that physical form is, and thus they perceive nothing and they can't understand that we exist. And in a similar way, the metaphor is alluding to the fact that there's entities around us that we can't perceive. And in a way, we are the goldfish to these entities that do, in fact, exist, and we just don't have the intelligence to perceive them. So, with that knowledge comes the question of what are these entities and who are they? Um, and this part is kind of where a lot of you are going to get sketched out, including myself. Um, but the soul farm theory does think or believe that these beings are called archons, which are a Gnostic reptilian humanoid race that created the world and control the world um, and lure our souls as humans into the reincarnation cycle in order to keep feeding off of our energy, much like humans do with animals. Um, and using, unfortunately, using the suffering of animals to sustain ourselves via farming. um yeah, but that's just how it is. So that's kind of where like the soul farm phrase comes from, kind of looking at it like we are the animals to these archons. The reason why the reptilian humanoid uh, race idea is so prevalent is because it's actually found in a multitude of different religions, not just Gnosticism. So, Japanese, Korean, Chinese legends all talk about a reptilian race, as well as African shaman, I believe. It's called Shatari that they refer to it as, but the Shatari, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, so forgive me, but they are a race of reptiles that control the world. So it is weird that a lot of these religions have a reptile take, but that's where it comes from. And that's where the idea of archons comes from. So now you guys might be wondering a little bit more about what these archons are, what their purpose is, how they lure souls into the reincarnation cycle, and why. Um, and those are all questions I will be answering. So, basically, as I said before, they must rely on the reincarnation cycle in order to sustain themselves, like literally feed themselves, such as we do with animals. Um, and they have a multitude of different tricks and traps in order to keep us in the cycle. Um, and they're highly intelligent, have a bunch of technology that we can't comprehend, which is why so many of us are stuck in this cycle. And there are two different beliefs about the archons. One being that they're malicious creatures and they kind of enjoy inflicting this suffering on us, whereas the other believes that it's just out of necessity and they don't view it as immoral because of their higher intellect. They believe that it doesn't really affect us and they're not causing too much harm. So, now let's talk about some of their tricks that they use in order to keep us in this cycle. The first and most prevalent trick within the subreddit and within the theory is the tunnel of light or the white light that a lot of people report seeing during near-death experiences and just really in life. You hear that a lot, like, "Oh, I'm seeing the light," like people joking around or whatever. Um, so the theory insists that this light is a form of technology that we can't understand or create, um, that lures souls into the reincarnation trap and simultaneously wipes their memory. Um, they also believe, this theory also believes that mimicry is used. So, mimicry of loved ones, religious figures, just anyone that provides comfort to the individual who is dying. Um, and this mimicry is used to, fool them into following the advice of their loved one. And uh, oftentimes, a lot of people who have near death experiences report these religious figures or loved ones talking about, oh, like, you need to go back and fix your mistakes and, repay your sins or try again, like, re- like pay off your karmic debt, like, go back and redo it, right? So that within the theory is the mimicry and the manipulation of getting us to go back to Earth. So those are some of their tricks. So next I'll be talking about kind of the evidence or supporting research for this theory. So first, obviously, I talked about a little bit earlier the common themes throughout every religion. So, for example, within Buddhism, there's the cycle of samsara, which is the wheel of suffering or wheel of reincarnation. And this idea is that, like, you can't escape the reincarnation cycle without spiritual enlightenment, which, in reference to the prison planet theory, would refer to the knowledge that we are in this cycle. So that would be kind of like the spiritual enlightenment. And then the whole theory kind of originates from Gnosticism and the belief that archons are in control of the earth. Um, and then within Christianity, there's really not a lot of like overlap between Christianity and this theory. However, there is a verse, I believe it's 2 Corinthians 11:14, that talks about how the devil can mask himself as an angel of light. So, although this verse doesn't directly acknowledge the soul farm cycle like theory, it does kind of correlate because it talks about mimicry, right? So, like, these entities or beings are able to turn themselves into a loved one or a religious figure or an angel of light. So, there is a lot of overlap within religions, and there's also a ton of researchers and people who practice astral projection and out of body experiences who come to these conclusions that the soul farm theory is real. One of them, including Robert Monroe, who has been practicing astral projection for all his life, and he claims to have seen the physical bodies of his like fellow humans, I suppose, being fed on in the astral realm by these entities, these archons. So the next researcher who supports this theory is Wayne Bush, and he has been researching the afterlife for 20 years. He's come to the conclusion that the soul farm theory is indeed real because of 7 signs that he writes about, and I'm going to tell you guys about 3. I found these 3 to be the most convincing signs. If you want to check out the other ones, they're definitely in the subreddit. I'm sure you can look them up as well. But the first sign is that we don't have any memory of who we are, where we came from, just anything about, the existence of humanity, really. And the reason why this is compelling evidence for this theory, or at least supporting evidence, is because if we did have memory, obviously that would go against the idea that we are stuck in a reincarnation cycle, because we would know about it and we wouldn't reincarnate. Um, we wouldn't choose to, right? Because it's a cycle of suffering. And also, the trickery, the manipulation of the archons can't really exist if we know what's up, right? Um, the second, like, kind of observation, I suppose, that really does support this theory is the food chain. Um, I think going back to the goldfish metaphor, if we believe that it doesn't necessarily stop at us, in with intelligence, like if there's entities that are of higher intelligence, they have to eat too, right? So we would kind of be below them in the food chain, and within nature, it's shown that this is just how the world works. Third, the use of light and mimicry in nature also kind of reflects like the light and mimicry that the archons are hypothetically using on us. So, for example, like anglerfish or fishermen mimicking like bait with their lures or whatever, and then like bug zappers with light, so, and camouflage. So a lot of like mimicry or hiding or light. It's used with predators in nature to catch prey, to lure them. And so it is strange that, the white light at the end of, like, during a near death experience is a light, it's kind of luring you toward it. So those are the three that I thought were the most compelling. And now I'm going to tell you guys some of my thoughts. So it's hard for me to be completely 100% on board with really any theory, but I would say I'm definitely not 100% on board with this one. Who knows what's going on, really, but I do find it to be kind of compelling. I think just like logically, it's easy to like come to the conclusion that it could absolutely be true, especially with like looking at the food chain and the goldfish metaphor. I think those two things really, make me take an interest in the theory. But ultimately, I don't know, guys. It's just, I don't know. It's just fun to think about. Um, Super fun rabbit hole to go down. So if you guys want to, check out the subreddit for more info, or I can make a part two. Just let me know in the comments. And lastly, I wanted to tell you guys, or ask you guys, if you want, go ahead and leave a creepy story or experience you've had in the comments. Just anything really, like maybe like you met a weird stranger or whatever, and I will tell it on here and respond to it. I don't know if I have the audience to do that, but if anyone is watching this, go ahead and I will make a video about it for fun. But yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and like and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.